and welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm here with Joe Wood, and we're joined by Simon Glenn and Chris Rabbitt from Meow. Hi guys, how are you?
Not bad. The sun is shining at long last, and that can only be a good thing after what seems like about 400 years of rain. So.
Why do you live in the UK? Come on.
It's so nice to see you both. We have been working together for a little while now. I was introduced to your platform, and then we decided to give it a try in our community, and we have our very own Meow meetup. And today we're going to be talking about getting started with networking, why Meow is a great place to get started, why online networking could give you some different options, and then just all things about how to get yourself out there more and start having more conversations. And I have used the platform a couple of times now and absolutely love it. So let's get started. Simon, as you are the chairman, would you like to give us a bit of a background on Meow, how you got started and what Meow does?
Okay, so Chris and I have always been big networkers in the past. I'm a graphic designer by profession. Chris is a sales professional. And all our marketing, the only form of marketing we've ever used for our own businesses was networking. In fact, we met at a networking event, eyes across the room. It was love at first sight. And it was all face-to-face networking, of course. This is pre-lockdown. And what lockdown taught us both was that you simply cannot take the traditional model of networking of getting as many people in one place as possible and letting them chinwag. You can't just transpose that online, because, by the way, is there any swearing allowed in this? We should have checked this beforehand. I nearly tripped up over myself there. It's rubbish.
Look at Zoe.
It's rubbish if you try that. The first few networking experiences I had at the beginning of lockdown were just useless. 60 people in a Zoom room was the biggest I ever had, and most people didn't even have the camera switched on, doing the ironing, doing anything, watching Murder, She Wrote, probably half of them, and it gleaned nothing at all. And I thought, there's got to be something better than this. And started asking myself how many people an environment like this could stand with everybody's microphone switched on and able to contribute, etc., etc. And I just came up with the concept, or the number 4. Number 1, because it's nice and symmetrical and it doesn't upset the OCD people, but also it's like me. It's the absolute limit, and we've tested this. Believe me. It's the absolute limit for the number of people that can be in a room and not end up just talking over each other and it being an absolute mess.
If you watch in any social situation, I know we're going slightly off piece, but it's an interesting point. The 4, like we are here, was chosen predominantly for design reasons in the first instance, but there is some science behind it, and it's about channels of communication. So if you think about a dialogue, there's one way information can go, and that's between you and whoever you're talking to. And you both have to contribute for it to be worthwhile. And we've all been in one-to-ones that are a bit hard to peddle, yeah? And they can be the most excruciating things in the world. And that's why we avoided that. A triangle always ends up being a dialogue with somebody watching. Regardless of how inclusive we try to be, it always ends up being a dialogue with an observer. And that's 3 lines of communication. But if you go to 4, all of a sudden there becomes 6, and that's the right number. So people can watch, people can engage, people can step back, but you can't dominate, you can't hide. But then if you go to 5, that 6 turns into 11. Now, anytime you're in a real life social situation, you watch the knots of people in the room. A 2 will become a 3, will become a 4. The energy will go up, it will attract another person, and that group will immediately split into a 3 and a 2 within about 30 seconds, because it's just not sustainable. So anyway, a design choice actually happened to be backed up by some really quite legitimate science, which was, a happy accident and one that
a complete fluke.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, happy accident. There are happy accidents. So I started that. I started a Zoom meeting for an hour once a day during lockdown, and purely for my own benefit, I called it a Zoom a day, which is testament to my non-plan to turn it into a business. But it was such a runaway success, and everybody that came in did the whole university challenge thing. They went, "Oh, isn't it great? Just 4 of us." Because they got so used to these enormous Muppet Show networking events, and the people were fighting to get on. I was booked up a month and a half in advance at one point, and it was fabulously fortuitous because my future business partner couldn't get on for a month, which gave me the time to formulate this idea of like, everybody's using this now, and they're all talking about how much money they've saved, how much more time they've got, how many more meetings they've been able to have as a result of not having to travel and all that kind of thing. And I realized that this was going to become ubiquitous. So when Chris finally came on, I think it was the first time I'd said it out loud. I'm thinking of turning this into a permanent thing. And he latched onto that like a dog and a robber and said, right, we're going to do this. And we're not going to use Zoom. We're not going to use Calendly. We're going to build our own platform. And I thought he was nuts because I had had no exposure to this, the tech world, the startup world or anything. I ran my own design business, but that was it. So it was a real leap into the dark, more so for me than Chris, but still, we were both beginners. That was in May of 2020, and we launched the platform in 2021. And I'm going to say the rest is history. Not yet. We're still working on the history bit, but yeah, we're definitely going in the right direction. We've got over 3,500 members now, and it's going really well.
Love that. Oh, I mean, we're a COVID-born business, I suppose, and I think we met through just happening to be at the same places regularly. So it really, this is how business and relationships build, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to know. So for anyone who doesn't know what Meeow is, like in terms that you've described, it's a platform. But can you just tell us a bit more about if someone was to go and look at Meeow,
Right.
what should they expect? How does it work? I'd love to ask you some more about networking, but let's just go there.
No, it's fine. I'll plug this business all day long. Don't you worry about it. So when you arrive at the platform, which is www.meow.com, you'll be invited to sign up for an account. It's free. Don't relax, everyone. We don't even actually the card details. It's all free at the moment, and will always be free as long as we can help it for the basic service. Sign up takes about 5 minutes, and then what you see is a calendar full of what appear to be meetings, essentially. But what they are opportunities to meet people you probably haven't met already. And the reason the meetings are there are so you can align behind a common subject, if you like, or a common location or a common community in the case of Six Figure Bookkeeper. So you know that the people who are going to be clicking for that meeting will be there for a similar sort of reason. And what we're trying to do is, sorry, let me just backtrack before we go to the why. So when you click to go in a meeting, you can click without booking, or you can book, and we'll send you a calendar invite and all the rest of it to help sort your diary. But when you click to enter a meeting, you will never be in a room full of more than 4 people for the reasons we just talked about. But the matchmaking for that happens while you're waiting to enter. So what we do is we ball everyone up into a crowd. We sift through them. And what we're trying to do is not put people together who are going to do business, because that's selling, that's not networking. What we're trying to do is put people together who are going to enjoy talking to each other. And that is much more powerful. So the whole thing, we're always at pains to say this is not a sales platform, although we're all trying to get sales. This is not a pushing platform. It's not a pitching platform. It's a conversation platform. And that conversation should, to a degree, center around who you are and what you do and how you can help people, more importantly, but really being interested in other people. So that's what we're there to do. And all the meetings that are in the calendar exist just to try and help people find their crowd, if you like. So that's what we're there to do. And that offering is only going to get bigger as we bring new functionality to the party. Go on, Simon.
So the experience of meowing is familiar, but not quite similar. So once you're in the room, there is no host. It is all attendees. Okay. There's no presentation. There's no speakers. There's no hi, welcome to the meeting or anything like that. You're in the meeting and everything is automated. So the introduction piece that you would normally have at a networking event is automated. There's on-screen clocks. Everybody's shifted around the room. It's animated. It's quite an experience. But you don't need a host. It's all run for you. It's either run automatically or you have control over the room yourself, like share screen and chat window and breakout rooms at the end. Everything's user driven. So and there's a mystery question bit which turns into a bit of a game show, which is a bit of fun as an icebreaker if you ever want it. So it's a very different experience. But the whole thing is that 1,000 people could be clicked to network at the same time in the same meeting, but the platform will split them automatically into rooms of no more than 4.
Amazing. And I absolutely loved when I did one of these sessions, I was in a room with some absolute newbie business owners, newbie bookkeepers, and it really helped. You know, we're here to talk about getting started with networking. What I love about it is that you're kind of spotlighted for like a couple of minutes so that you can do an introduction. Mm-hmm. But rather than you sitting there going, what do I say? It literally says, right, say your name, then say this, and then say that, and tell us something interesting. And then you can say, like, you can press the button and say, right, I've finished with my introduction, so someone else can go on. Or if you get to your 2 minutes, it stops you and goes on to someone else anyway. So no one can be overbearing and take over. It's all very fair and it's out of your hands. And there's somebody that, especially in a room like that, when obviously me and Zoe are leading a community. So when people are coming in there, they're expecting me to lead that meeting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even let me, which I love because it means I get to join in just as much as everybody else. Yeah, really, really, really good fun. So I think for somebody that has never done networking before or has never, like, I love the fact you're saying this is not about selling. This is just about coming on and getting to know some people. And the few rooms that I've been in, I have seen where someone has managed to take away work from someone else, not coming in to ask for it, but they just said, oh yeah, I'm looking to get some experience. And the other person in the room went, well, actually, I've got too much work on at the moment. Should we have a chat afterwards and see if we could? And I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And no one came on like sleazy selling or anything. They were just talking about their journey, and it was really cool. So
that's the exact message.
Yeah. So, and this is what I try. So we're always, Jill is in our team. She's absolutely massive fans of Meow. She has been in breakfast networking for years. And she's like, this is amazing. Do you not realize how much money, time, effort that we used to have to put in to get in these kind of connections? And now it's free. You've just got to sign up and turn up. And first of all, what's great is that bookkeepers can join Meow and speak to other bookkeepers. So just get used to the platform, get used to, all of the prompts and how the platform works, how you log in, all of these things. And then yours you can go on.
Yours is still the biggest community in Meow. There's a couple of people snapping at your heels now. But Six Figure Bookkeeper is typically in any given week the biggest slot on the weekly calendar. So any one of your members, hello out there, who are thinking of coming on, there are always people to meet because there are always at least 3 or 4 meetings going on during that Six Figure Bookkeeper session. So, that's entirely testament to you and Zoe and promoting it and all the rest of it. But it means you have a really successful little slot there that your members can come to and know they're going to meet each other.
I always know when Jill's put some communication out because our membership counter goes ding 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 ding. Like, Jill's talking again. She's at it.
Jill has lots of words with me about I need to promote this. We need to do this. Yeah, love it.
When the analytics starts going like that, I'm like, what? She's at it again.
How do you think that online networking, I was going to say, how do you choose the right networking event? But that's probably not really the conversation now. But how does this go alongside networking in person? Is there still a place for networking in real life?
Absolutely. Let me go back to the question that you didn't ask, because it's really important. I know I sound like Rishi Sunak. Let me answer this question instead. No, but it is important, because lots and lots of people, and actually we've had this from a couple of your members as well, have, if you like, taken issue a little bit and said, well, I'm here to meet my ideal customer. And if I'm not meeting my ideal customer, then it's absolutely no good for me. And actually, you know, your story then about someone coming in and finding work just through having a chat really gives lie to that. Because networking, and I can't stress it enough, networking is not selling. Even if you go into a room full of your ideal customer, if you turn into a salesperson, they will turn their back on you. The whole point of networking is to build relationships, to get people to buy into not what you do, but who you are. All right? That's the thrust. And if you can get people to buy into who you are, every person that comes away and says, oh, I like Chris, or I like Joe, or I like Zoe, or I like Simon, and I really understand what they do, you walk out with another salesperson. So every event you do, you can walk out with 3 new salespeople who, when they go into the world, they go, hey, do you need someone who runs a community of bookkeepers? Well, actually, as it happens, I know 2 wonderful women that do just that. Whereas if you'd gone, hey, buy my courses, come and do my things, and someone asked that question, oh, Jesus, don't go anywhere near them. They're a right pushy pair. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. So don't worry about, am I choosing the right event? Go somewhere you think you might feel comfortable. Go somewhere where you think you might find a place. Go somewhere you think you can be yourself.
Yeah.
And worry about it after that.
Yeah, your question, Zoe, about is face-to-face networking still a thing? Absolutely. The reason we created Meow was because of experience I'd had. I used to be in a BNI group, which Jill and I had long, wonderful chats about. I was in BNI for 5 years, and one of the tasks that you are tasked with in that is inviting visitors to the group. And an alarming number of people, I would estimate at least 70% of people that you invite to come to any kind of networking, not just BNI, are unable to attend. Not that they don't want to, it's that they just can't make it at that time or that distance or on that day, whatever it is. And I realized that there must be millions of people who, and networking is incredibly powerful, and millions of people around the world are excluded from this benefit purely by their life situation or where they live or whatever. But networking is something you should be doing all the time. And I don't mean organized networking. It's like I was having an argument with somebody in the pub once. He went, oh, I don't do networking. Bloody networking. Turning up for, sandwiches and coffee and all that rubbish and talking to idiots, blah, blah, blah. But then within the next 30 seconds, he goes, I know somebody that can help you with that. I said, networking. And he went, no, but that's not networking. That's just knowing people. And I went, all right, then. It's the difference between spirituality and organized religion. All right. You are a spiritual networker. You just don't turn up to church. All right. Whenever you are, where you are, whether you're in the petrol station, dropping the kids off at school, at gym class, whatever it is, Chris and I are always at gym class. Whenever you're talking to anybody, it's networking. You will be talking about your business. You will be talking about the things you've been doing during the day. But the organized networking events, you have to get used to having these conversations, telling these stories to people. And the easiest place to do that is where everybody else is practicing to tell their story as well.
I think we get called a networking nursery quite a lot, and that doesn't mean we're not appropriate for experienced networkers. But I think this will resonate with lots of your members, is that lots of your members are either predisposed to not want to network for whatever reason, or they don't think it's right for them or whatever else. And that's the case for lots and lots of community. But going to an event in person and walking into that room, opening the doors and seeing all the people, lots of people go, oh my God. You know, some people would rather have their fingernails pulled out than have to do that. And that's all about either not being comfortable enough to do it or just generally just not wanting to do it. You know, I completely understand that not everyone is a psychopath extrovert like me. I love to put myself in a room full of strangers and make a nuisance of myself. But I also recognize that I am a freak. Okay. And I relish that in a way that is probably unhealthy. But what Meow does is give you a safe space where the crowd isn't big. You have an opportunity to express yourself. Like you say, there's all the little prompts and tips and all the rest of it there. And at the end of the day, it's 45 minutes. It's not too long. It's not too stressful. And if you don't feel it went the best, fine. There's the next one to do, or there's another one to do. And the opportunity is there for you over and over and over again. Rather than feeling like it's a high stakes game, you can integrate it with virtually no consequence if it doesn't go exactly as you want it to.
So thinking about the bookkeepers that are joining and, you know, the person or people that said, well, you know, why do I want to network with people that aren't my ideal client? It's so interesting, isn't it? That's, you know, we see it all the time. Our Success Lounge, there is so much work given between bookkeepers and accountants and bookkeepers and accountants, like so much. But maybe people, we don't do our training to think that that's how we're going to earn money. We think it's got to be outside business. But this is the beauty about Meow. You know, you can come in and you can meet bookkeepers, but you can also go and meet business owners. So tell us, what kind of other networking events are happening if people wanted to be brave and go and try other events?
Well, we're expanding that. No, I was going to say day by day. That would be a lot.
Weekly, really, isn't it? Weekly
and definitely monthly. We are expanding the list. So not all the meetings are created by us. Obviously, we've got communities such as yourselves. We have created a small suite of networking subjects on the platform ourselves. We're also inviting ambassadors to suggest subject matter or geographic locations that they would like to have a networking event at. Like Lincolnshire's coming on soon. We've just created virtual power networking. Somebody's asked us to put that community on. We've got Birmingham, we've got London, we've got West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, Scotland, and it's slowly spreading out. Obviously, we want to cover the whole of the UK eventually and have something specific for everybody. Anybody that wants to approach us and suggest a location or a subject matter that doesn't already exist on the platform, feel free to get in touch with us. Basically, we want the community to grow itself. You know what I mean? Because it's a free platform. You know, we're not creaming fortunes off it and pumping that into marketing. We want the community to be spreading out as itself. So we are adding meetings all the time. We've got creative and marketing. We've got tech and startup. We have mums in business on a Monday morning. We have everyday sessions, which we call them every day. It's general networking. We have 2 of those every day. Well, every weekday.
I think what I would say to your members is everyone who uses our platform pretty much is a business owner. Pretty much.
Small business owner.
Might be very small. They might be a bit bigger.
No, they are a very small business owner. That's good.
Yeah, they pretty much will be a small business owner. So any meeting has the potential to have access to 3 of your ideal customers. But more to the point has an opportunity to broaden your horizons into different markets, different people, different understanding. You know, use the 6-figure bookkeeper session to air your frustrations and, you know, seek help from your peers in that session. Go, hey, I've got a problem and I need some help, or whatever else. And then the rest of the sessions, however you choose to use the platform, you then get to be, you know, that voice of reason in the room that goes, hey, you know, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you slipping into bad habits? And most people will be like this. Yes. And then you get the wonderful feeling of being that person's savior as you rescue them from financial disorganized ruin.
Yeah, the face-to-face networking thing is great because you've got to maintain your social abilities in a business environment.
It's the only way we get out these days.
It is the only time I get released from this desk. But the time-saving saving element of networking online, it doesn't have to be Meow. But there's loads of people running online networking. You can do it from your desk. You don't have to move anywhere. It takes, in our case, 45 minutes out of your day. Others, it might be an hour, 2 hours, whatever. But you don't have to move. And the key with networking is consistency. You don't just turn up once a month. That is about as much use as an ashtray on a motorbike. It's not going to achieve anything. You might get lucky in your first meeting, but that's not networking. That's meeting somebody. You've got to do it. We always say, we did some research about 2 years ago that said that 3 networking sessions per week is the absolute baseline if you really want networking to contribute consistently to your business. And of course, if you were to turn up to 3 different face-to-face networking events, even if they're in your city, that's going to be maybe a whole day's worth. Maybe even a bit more.
Yeah, I remember well, working around kids during the time you've got one in nursery and then you go to an event. I mean, you can't go to breakfast events because this is a very sort of young, like having young children problem. But it's very real because it disrupts everyone's routine. So you go drag yourself to a morning breakfast thing, find it doesn't feel like the right environment. I haven't worn a suit for years, what am I doing here? And then you don't maybe interact in the way that you would when you're on top form, and then you go away and then you've disrupted everyone's routine, and then you've got half an hour to do some work and then you've got to pick the kids up. It's like I really do get it, and I see that this is really a really good way to start networking consistently. One question I've got is, when you go to a in-person event, let's say you start to become, I know there are members in our community. I remember speaking, Joe, to Claire Johnson, who spoke to us about the networking she'd been doing on one of our episodes recently. And she is very ingrained in a couple of different networking groups. In fact, I think she runs her own in-person event now. So when you go to those kind of things, you see the same people and you build that kind of credibility within a community for like knowing your stuff, and you're endorsed by other people in the room who may have become your clients. Like that is really powerful in terms of personal branding and other people recommending you. If you go to an online event and you meet 3 people, you may see one of them again, another similar event or the same event next week or something, but you'll probably end up with other people because you're just with 3 people. How do you maximize that one-time opportunity of meeting that person? What's the best way to follow up from something like this?
I think the first step to that is to actually follow up. Okay, and again, I think that is just as much of a skill as talking to people in the first place, because people have the tendency to go, "Hi, it was great to meet you. If you need what I have, call me here." And I would flip that on its head and go, "Hi, Zoe, it was great to meet you today. Really enjoyed our conversation. Think we made a connection. If I can help you with anything you need, you let me know. If I can introduce you to my network, if I can help you achieve your target of whatever it was you told me about in the meeting, let me know. I think I might know someone who you need to talk to. If you'd like that introduction, just let me know." All those things. Lead with value. Always lead with value. Always lead with, you don't necessarily have to be doing something for somebody, but always lead with value. We talked about, I don't know, cheese. Simon hates me using this example, but it's very specific. We talked about cheese. Here's a brand,
like cheese all the time.
Here's a brand of biscuit and chutney that you would really like. Okay, so it doesn't have to be something you have, but it's something you can add value to, and that's the way to do it. Our platform is a bit shifty as far as that's concerned, because we actively try to keep people apart who've been together before, because our whole shtick is people you don't know yet. Now, there will be times, without a doubt, while the audience is on the smaller side, that you will meet people again in a Meow. And if you go to the certain ones, which you will see the same people sometimes, and that's great, crack on. But as the audience gets bigger, that's going to happen less and less. So it makes it really important that if you do make a connection, or you feel you've made a connection, just follow up, drop them a connection request on LinkedIn. Their email address will be in their mouse over, or their profile information will be in the mouse over that you get on the Meow screen. So you can find out all about them and then weave that into what you do for a follow-up. But do follow up if you think it's worth it. I would argue follow up anyway, even if you think it don't. Just a couple of minutes to write an email, but lead with value, not with if you need what I have. Because people stick that in the, not bothered pile straight away.
Mm-hmm. I am a big fan of both varieties of success in networking. What you were talking about, Zoe, the turning up and to the same event and possibly seeing the same people and embedding the knowledge about what benefit you can bring to the business community in those minds is incredibly valuable. That's what BNI has built its global audience on. But then there's also the I've never met you before. My God, that's a very interesting conversation. I had no idea you did that over here, and I didn't know you knew them. That is just as powerful. And I think a lot of people are wedded to one or the other. You should be embracing both. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm hearing here. Is like you've got online, you've got offline, you've got where you repeatedly see the same people, and then you've got new people, and then you've got the taking them off of that platform and then making sure that you've got good LinkedIn content or whatever, so that if you connect with anybody, that's how they're embedding and getting to know you and your credibility and your expertise, because your online marketing is good. So there are so many ways. That is, really, that's what we're trying to do when we're putting stuff out there. It's like attraction marketing. It's like, this is me. If you like me, you can, comment and connect. So I love that. Actually, it's just, there's not just one way of doing networking, and it shouldn't be one way. You should kind of find what you're comfortable with, give everything a try. And there are some people I know, Jill speaks to some people and she talks through the benefits and, things of BNI, but lots of the time she says, it's not right for you right now because of this, this, and this, because she's seen so many people sign up and not be able to commit. And she knows, if she knows someone's background, she's like, it's not the right time for you right now because you'd have to do this, you'd have to do that. You're already stressed as you are. You're already time poor. It's not a good fit at the moment, but there are other options. And I think I just think it's really good to see this as, not one size fits all. I think I always, when I thought networking, I thought 6 a.m. breakfast. I love the fact that it's all changing. And I was nervous as well when I did my first Meow, because it's new. Why would, and just before we got on this, I went to an event this morning. And Zoe said to me, how did it go? And I was like, yeah, it was really good. I said, but actually last night I had more conversations. I got into my room. I was gonna have an early night, and then someone said, oh, we're just thinking about dinner. Do you want to pop down to the bar? And I knew that that's where the magic happens. It's not actually at the thing. It's before the thing, before all of the, all of the order and all of the, this is how it's going to be scripted. And I ended up going out for a Thai curry and had a lovely chat and got to know people. Actually, we didn't really talk much business, but I've got to really know them on a really good level. This morning, I went to someone and I was speaking to someone about something me and Zoe got coming up. They went, oh, you really should speak to this guy. And I was like, I sat with him all night. Talked to him. I know about his wife. I know about his kids. I know about this and that. And I was like, now, so I was able to go straight into LinkedIn today and go, we need to have a chat. We didn't talk about this last night.
And what did he say?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's amazing.
This is one of the things that when you run a platform like ours, you get nothing but advice from people, and if we followed every piece of advice that we ever got off from investors or members or whatever, we'd be tied in knots. But one that has cropped up a hell of a lot over the last 4 years is why does it have to be 45 minutes? That's too long. Why do you need 45 minutes with just 4 people? Okay. I'll tell you why. Exactly what you've just said there. I know you spent all night with that guy, Obviously, the conversation didn't go in the right direction for that point. But the number of times, and this goes back to your question about face-to-face networking, Zoe. At face-to-face networking events, you can see people, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people consciously saying to themselves, their internal monologue is, I need to go and speak to somebody else. I need to go speak to somebody else. I need to work the room. You know, they'll give it a minute or 2 minutes, and they go, anyway, I just need to go to the toilet. And you think, you're not going to the toilet, are you? You know, you're working the room. But the number of times I've seen, either in a face-to-face where there's been a lengthy conversation, a decent commitment to the conversation, or on Meow, where 30 minutes, 35 minutes into the conversation, somebody has said something. And it's usually me asking you something, Zoe, and then Joe kicking in with, oh, I've got just the person for that. But it takes 35 minutes to get there. You know, you need to know what people need. And you can't get that in 5 minutes of, oh, hi, how are you?
No, it's why I hate speed networking.
Yeah, that's the suggestion we've had most. Why can't you do speed networking? I'll tell you why. Because it's beep. That's why. It's useless. Useless.
Oh gosh, I love this. I am already signed up with Meow, but I'm gonna go and have another look and register for some events.
You should be attending your own event for a start.
I am, but I want to see what else is going on. I had a look and I was like, Michigan, USA. I don't know. I don't have any contacts there. I feel like I should attend. So yeah, it looks amazing. Look, for anyone who's listening to this who hasn't used the platform, how can they register? What do they have to do? You said it's free. Where do they go?
Totally free. www.meow.com. Sign up for a profile. We'll walk you through. The process is really, really straightforward. All you need to do is put your email in, validate your email to make sure that the people are who they say they are.
Check your spam. Check your spam.
And then create your profile. And what I'll say to everybody is put some time into that, because when you mouse over your face in Meow, your profile, the thing that you've written, is displayed for everyone to see. So that also means you can keep, you know, when you forget people's names with the regularity that I do, or forget what they do with the regularity I do, you just quick mouse over, go, oh, that's it. Okay. Breathe easy again. I'm not going to think they're a zookeeper when they're actually some Zoroastrian. There you go. I pulled that one out.
You're a cheesemaker, at least.
Well, there you go. So yeah, create your profile and then go and have a look at the events that you want to do. And if that is just sitting with Six Figure Bookkeeper for a couple of weeks, then great, do that. You know, at the end of the day, that's what it's for. And then if you fancy branching out, then we're reasonably confident that we've got something for pretty much everybody. So go and have a look, go and have an explore. At the end of the day, it costs you nothing but a little bit of time.
And I want to make it very, very clear, nobody is barred from any of the meetings.
Yes.
Everything's open. Don't feel that you should only be going in something that looks like it's bookkeepery or whatever, or you're not in that town or whatever. I mean, if you're in Basingstoke and you're going into the Michigan meeting, then I don't know. Maybe that's right for you. But don't feel that there isn't any. You don't have to cherry pick which ones you think might welcome you. Every meeting would welcome you. Okay. Take your pick. And if you've got any ideas for any other meetings that you would like to run, like for instance, if you're in, pluck it out of the air.
Cardiff. We haven't got one in Cardiff yet.
Oh, what? No way.
No. I'll tell you why. Because our network doesn't stretch that to that particular area of the country. We are actively.
Okay, there's a lot. We'll talk about Wales another time. Let's talk about that. But love it. Okay, look, it's been absolutely amazing to speak to you guys. Anyone listening, it's Meow, Meeow. That's
what I was going to say. I knew I had something to close on. Everybody asks us why it's called Meow, right? There's a reason there's two E's in it, because as everybody knows, when a cat says meow, they don't say it with two E's, right? It's short for meet now. There you go. Did you see that gasp on both of them? Oh,
The
right.
light comes on.
Love it. Nothing to do with cats.
Nothing to do with cats.
Lovely. Well, look, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another episode of the podcast. Take care. Bye.